Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I am so excited to share with you these 3 adorable projects made with the super cute Have a Hoot bundle from the new Stampin' Up! August-December mini catalog. Now, I am generally not a big fan of cutesy stamp sets. They're not kind of my jam. I think they're adorable and I see lots of people doing really cute projects with them, but they're generally not something that I gravitate to, mainly because I don't have little kids in the house anymore. However, this adorable owl set I had to have. Now let me just show it to you. It's called Have a Hoot. There's a bundle, so that we've got stamps and dies. And these images are just so cute, not just for little guys, anybody who loves owls, and I have lots of grown-up friends who love owls. This is just the cutest set. Now, again, great value. Whenever you're looking at stamp sets and trying to decide on the value, whether or not it's worth spending the money on, you always want to look for stamp sets that have images and sentiments. Okay, that gives you more bang for your buck because it's everything you need in one set. Now, this one has images both for Halloween and Christmas, and as well as some really cute sort of punny sentiments. So that's the stamp set. And then, of course, we have coordinating dies. Now, these dies are a little bit different. We have this really cool die that cuts peekaboo windows. And you're going to see how that works on one of the cards that we're going to make today. And then we have several dies that cut out those cute little stamped owls. And then we've got this awesome spider web die that I love. And then a couple of little Christmas evergreen boughs. So that is the set of dies. This comes in a bundle. I'll just quickly show it to you in the catalog. It is, of course, discounted when you buy the stamps and dies together. So in the catalog, it's on page 62, some really cute samples in the catalog as well. It's priced, the bundle is priced at $69.25 here in Canada, which is a pretty good deal as bundles go. And it, as I said, gives you lots of bang for your buck because you can use it all the way through the fall for Halloween and for Christmas. So I'm going to set this aside. And before we get going, I'm just going to pull my video up here on my iPad so I can see who's joining me today. Come on, here we go. I'm asking Santa for a new iPad this Christmas, so it works a little quicker. Oh, Laura's here, and Deb, and Sue, and Gail, and another Gail, and Judy. Hi, ladies. I hope you're having a good week. I got to stamp with some of you this week already, so it was great to enjoy some stamping with you, and today we're going to do some more. So we're going to start with this cute little Christmas card. Now, all of these are fun folds today. I went a little fun fold crazy this week. So this one is, as I said, it's a peekaboo. So I'm going to show you how those dies work to create these cute little peekaboo windows. But this one opens this way and then this way. Okay, so it says Merry Christmas on the front from all of us on the inside. Isn't that fun? So I'm going to show you how to do that. It's really simple. So to start, I have sort of it's kind of 2 card bases in one. So our foundation is just a piece of Seaside Spray cardstock. It's 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. Then I have embossed the one half, so one panel of the card with the Winter Snow embossing folder. This is also in the holiday catalog. Now, generally, I am not a fan of embossing my card bases. I usually like to put a layer on first. However, because I already had a lot of layers with this Peekaboo card, I made an exception in this case, okay? So I'm going to take my card base, I'm going to fold it in half along that score line. What I always find when I've embossed a panel, I find it easier to fold over the side that is not embossed. That just allows me to make sure that it's folding in the middle and not sort of where it's weakened by the embossing. That's just a little tip for when you have an embossed card front, okay? Then I have a second piece. This is Whisper White cardstock. It's just regular Whisper White. I didn't use the thick Whisper White on this, again, because I already had a lot of layers and a lot of weight on this card. So this is 11 inches by 3 3/4. So 3 3/4 by 11. I've scored it in the middle at 5.5. Okay, and then I have also cut a piece of Plaid Tidings DSP. that is 5.5 by 3 3/4, and I've glued it to the one side of that panel. Okay, so the way this is going to work, we're going to be gluing this inside here, and then it's going to close like that. Okay, but first we're going to cut our peekaboo windows. So I'm going to set these aside and bring in my fancy dancy Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And we're going to use, just for our sandwich, we're going to use our platform number 1, our adapter plate number 2, our magnetic plate number 5, and then we're going to top it off with a regular cutting plate number 3. So I'm going to lay my white cardstock. So this is the piece that was the narrower one that I had adhered the DSP to. And I'm going to take this cool die. Now this die cuts all 3 of these shapes at once, but when you take them out, as you'll see, you're going to get 3 individual little tags, which is so, so cool. And I got to make sure I'm orienting this correctly. So we're going to put this onto our cardstock that we want to cut. Now, let me just give a little disclaimer here. I'm kind of breaking the rules because Stampin' Up! And it says right clearly on their packaging that you're only to cut 1 layer at a time. Now, I'm kind of breaking the rules, but I kind of figure I can get away with it because this is regular Whisper White and DSP. So it's about the same thickness as a regular piece of colored cardstock. That's what I'm telling myself anyway. All right, so I've got my dies on there. I'm going to put my cutting plate on top, and we're going to roll her through. And get this guy out of the way. You will see when I pop these out that I'm going to get 3 individual little tags. Now, we're not going to use these on the card, but you could absolutely make 3 cute little coordinating gift tags to go with this card. Okay, so don't throw those out. They're really cute little tags that you can use. Okay, so let's get this out of the way and we will finish building our card. I love that this thing folds up. It's so handy. All right, so back to this. So we have our die cut front and we have our embossed base. So what we are going to do is apply some adhesive to the back side of the white. And I'm going to use my seal. You could use Seal Plus. You could also use the Tombow, whatever makes you happy. And the easiest way I found to close this is to go ahead and line this up with this card base open. So I'm going to close the inside layer, and I'm just going to line up the fold with that edge, just like that. Okay, and that way when I close it, that's going to fold right over top like that. Okay. All right, now maybe I put that a little bit close, so I might do a little bit of a trim job on that just to clean that up. Let me just grab my trimmer. I put it a little bit close. So if you find that once you get this glued on, you put your score a little bit too close so that this doesn't quite close and lie flat. You see how it's making that buckle a little bit? It's just a matter of trimming a teeny little smidge, and I mean a teeny smidge, off of your base. But I'm just going up to where that that panel is to trim that. All right, we'll get rid of those little fuzzies, and that should give us enough for that to close cleanly. Okay, all right, so now we're going to add our little owl. So on the inside panel, we have all of these cute little owls. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to make you sit and watch me color all those guys. I've already gone ahead and done that ahead of time. There's lots of coloring on the cards today, so I figured I would do it so that you would not have to watch because it could take a while. So we have our cute little snuggling couple. We've got our little owl family, and then we have this little guy who is just so excited about having a gift. So I've also got some of these little evergreen sprigs. So we're going to create little nests for them, or little branches for them to sit on. Now, when you're placing these, you want to make sure that you have your card closed so you know where you need your little owls to go. So what I did is I put a couple of dimensionals on the back of these guys. And we're going to close this up. I may still have to trim a little bit off there, but... And then these little guys are going to kind of nestle right about there. So if you close the window, you can kind of see, and you're going to see that their wings are a little bit wide. They're going to extend past, but that's okay. You can just kind of bring them around and then they're fine. Okay. And then we've got our little bitty owls. We're going to use some mini dimensionals for them. This little owl family. Now I should mention, I colored the owls using the Smoky Slate Stampin' Blends. Okay, I used the light for their bodies and I added a little bit of shadow with the dark. Their eyes are light so saffron, as are their feet. And then their little toques, their little Christmas hats here, are light real red. Okay, just to give you an idea of how I colored them. And then this little guy, we're going to add one dimensional on here. Hi, Krista, how are you? And then we're going to add this little guy here. Hi, Debbie. Glad you could join us. No problem. You join us. You can watch the replay. That's why the replay is a replay. It's available. Okay, and then before we finish on the front, we're going to add the little mistletoe sprig above our little snuggle couple. So all I did was add a glue dot to the top of my mistletoe here. And we're going to glue that just at the top of our window. Okay, and that will come with it when we open it. All right, now we're going to add our little branches. So because I popped these guys up, it's really easy to add our little evergreen branches here to create sort of a nest for these little guys to sit in. So I'm going to take one, press a glue dot in, or press it into a glue dot rather, and tuck this, if it will cooperate, just up. Oh, come on. I should have used liquid glue. We're going to use liquid glue because the glue dots are not my friend. Not right now. Let's get this going here. So just a touch of liquid glue there. And we're going to tuck this up and under. Just like that. And then we're going to add another one. Going the other way. A little bit of glue here. And again, we'll tuck this up and under, just like that. Oopsie, don't want to cover up the little owl family. There we go. And then we're going to put one little guy kind of under here, just to balance that out. For that one, I think I can get away with a glue dot. You do have to be gentle with these when you're applying glue dots because they will tear. They're quite delicate, these little things. There we go. Okay, so there's our one set of little nest there. And then we're going to add another under this little guy with the gift. Whoopsie. Come here, you. It is really cold in my craft room today. I don't know why, because it's not cold outside. It's just quite chilly. And here my fingers are a little bit numb. So they're not quite working the way they normally do. So there is our second little nest. And then finally, our little owl family. A little bit of glue. And then we'll add this guy under here. And then we're going to add, oops, stick you. We're going to add another little guy on the other end. Just like that. And then we're going to do one more. I think we'll just add one more under here just to fill in because I have it. I just tend to die cut 2 at a time just because I can. And if I use them, I use them. If I don't, they go in my little pile of die cut goodies to be used later. There we go. All right. There are our cute little owls. Look how cute those are. I love them. Now we need our sentiment for the front. So for that, I have die cut a label using the stitch nested label dies. Okay, this is I think the second smallest. I've cut it from Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to use my Merry Christmas stamp and stamp it in Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Okay, so I'm going to ink up my stamp, and this is where we cross our fingers and hope and pray that I stamp it relatively straight. There we go, not bad. And to adhere this, now we have to take care when we're sticking this onto the front of the card. We want to make sure we put our adhesive where it's going to be on the front of the card and it's not going to extend and glue the card shut, right? So I'm just going to add a dimensional. Make sure I'm putting it on the right end. And we're just going to pop that on right about there. Okay, and then we're going to add a cute little bow using some of this braided linen. So this is the Real Red braided linen trim from the holiday, also known as the August December mini catalog. I have a really hard time saying August December mini. Holiday is so much easier. All right, and I'm going to make my bow pretty teeny. I didn't even walk you through how to do that. I was too busy talking about how much I don't like saying August December mini. I'll show you how on the next one, okay? So then I'm going to just take and press the knot of my bow into a glue dot, and I'm going to put it right on that point on my label. Okay, isn't that cute? Now to add a little bit of bling to this card, we're going to add a few little self-adhesive sequins. So these are the adhesive back snowflakes. These are also from the August December catalog. They come with sort of two tints. They're iridescent. This one's kind of got greens and purples and blues. This one has sort of pinks and yellows. So we're going to go with the green, purple, blue to work with our color scheme. And because these have adhesive on them, they're super quick and easy to apply. So you're just going to take your pick. If you don't have a take your pick, I don't know what you're waiting for. You need to get one. I'm telling you right now, it will change your life. Okay, like honestly, it is the best, what is it, $15 I think I ever spent. Because the things that I can do with this thing are just amazing. Okay, so there's our little snow flurry. Makes placing those little sequins a snap when you have your take your pick. So we'll get that out of the way, okay? And then we're going to do a little bit of work on the inside. So on the inside panel, we're going to stamp from Owl of Us. How cute is that? And we're also going to add just a little bit of color to sort of reflect what was on the front of the card. So this is a 1 inch, is it 1 inch? Nope, it's 3/4 by 5.5. Just a little scrap strip of the same DSP I used on the front. Okay, so it's going to get glued right along the bottom edge of that Whisper White piece. So I'm going to add just a little bit of glue. And we're just going to wiggle that into place. Make sure it's nice and straight. I might need to do a little trim there at the end. Okay, so that is the way that's going to close. And then we're going to stamp our sentiment from Owl of Us on the inside, just like that. So fun, so cute. All right, so that is card number 1. Done and done. All right. Okay, let's move to Halloween for a little bit. We'll come back to Christmas in a few minutes, but we're going to move to Halloween for a sec. I just want to do a little cleanup here because we are going to need to use those stamps again. All right, our next one is this. Now, this is essentially the same design, okay? So this one was a horizontal peekaboo. All right, horizontal. This one is a vertical, but it works essentially the same way. So this one we open up and then out, okay? So if I turn this way, you'll see what I mean, how it's basically the same design. Okay, for this one, I changed my measurements a little bit because I wanted to see more of that embossed spiderweb background. So let me just pull these out. I've already done some of the die cutting on this. So this one is 5.5 by 8.5. So basic black cardstock scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So exactly the same as what we started with on the last card. This time I've embossed the front using the Cobwebs embossing folder. And oh my goodness, even if you're not a Halloween fan, this is an awesome embossing folder. I just love that texture. So again, we're going to start by folding that in half along that score line. Where to put my bone folder? There it is. Okay, and then here I've adjusted the width of this. So on the last card, this was 3 3/4 inches wide. This one's only 3.5. I made it a little bit narrower again so that I could see more of that cobweb pattern on either side of it. It's still 11 inches. Okay, so 3.5 by 11 scored in the middle at 5.5. And then I added a Plaid Tidings DSP panel that was 3.5 by 5.5. Okay, then I used the largest circle from my layering circle dies to cut a circle that is going to be my Peekaboo window on this one. Okay, I knew I wanted to do a moon, and so I thought having the circle would be a cool way to do that peekaboo. Okay, so this is going to get glued on. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and add my adhesive. Oh, you have two of them, Debbie? I actually have two too. I have one for over here, my workstation for doing videos. And then I also have one, I'm going to turn this way so I don't have the same problem I did last time and make sure I get this. I give myself a little bit more space when I'm closing this. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open this, and that way I can see the score line a little better. So this time I am going to make sure that my score line is outside of the edge of my top edge of my card. Okay, so that when I close that's not quite where I need it. I'm going to back it off just a bit more to make sure that that's going to close easily. Much better. Okay, so we're going to press that into place. I know I don't have that problem that I had on the last card. I was smarter this time. Okay, so there is our foundation of our card. Okay, so now we're going to do some decorating. So on this one, on our inside panel, we created this cute little scene with this scaredy little owl. So let me show you how I did that. So here I have a circle cut from Mango Melody cardstock. Okay, that's the color that I used for my moon. And I think it is the third largest circle, I want to say. I think, pretty sure. So what we're going to do is stamp directly onto that Mango Melody layer. We're going to stamp our scaredy, no, not that guy, this guy, our scaredy little owl using the Tuxedo Black ink. Okay. So let's ink that up. And we're going to stamp that. Now you want to make sure your tree isn't floating, right? So you see how the tree kind of ends? So you want to make sure that part that ends extends off the bottom of your circle, okay? So that it doesn't look like it's a levitating tree, although that would not be out of the realm of possibility on Halloween, okay? All right, so then all I have to color on this really is my tree itself, because I've already die cut and colored my little owl, okay? So he is right here, okay? And he's gonna get popped up, so we don't need to worry about coloring that, but I am gonna color the tree. So for that, I'm using my light basic black. Now, word of warning, when you are coloring with blends on colored cardstock, you are going to find that they bleed considerably more than they do when you're coloring on Whisper White. That's because the Whisper White is pressed that much harder and the fibers are that much closer together so that you don't get the same kind of bleed, okay? So you just have to be really, really delicate. I'm barely tickling this cardstock, okay? And I'm not fighting the bleed. I'm kind of working with it. So I'm just kind of tickling and just allowing that ink to kind of spread on its own. All right, you will get really frustrated if you use the same kind of heavy hands when you're coloring on colored cardstock with Stampin' Blends as you do on Whisper White. Okay, it's a very different touch. We're just barely grazing that cardstock. I discovered this the hard way. Okay, so take my advice and trust me on this one. I would recommend practicing a little bit on some scrap. If you've never colored with blends on colored cardstock before, I would recommend doing a little bit of practice just on some scrap so you can kind of get a feel for it. It is a very different feel than when you're coloring with the Whisper White. All right, I have to be really delicate, so I can't rush this. I'm sorry, you guys. I tried to do as much coloring as I could ahead of time, but I wanted to do a little bit of stamping today. Now you're going to see that the image kind of ends before, see how the branch ends before the owl? That's on purpose. That's so that when you do the die cut, you get a clean border, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. Let me see. Here he is. So you just see how we don't see the branch when we cut this guy out, okay? He is cut out from this stamped image, but because they've left that gap, I get a nice clean white border around him, okay? So Stampin' Up! Was really intentional when they planned and designed this stamp set, and we're really thinking about how it would be used, and I love that they considered that and made sure that you were going to get a good result. So we're just gonna, I don't have to be as careful next to his body because if it bleeds, it's okay because we're gonna cover that part up. All right, so there we go. There's our tree. Now to add just a little bit of dimension to my moon, I'm going to do a little bit of sponging around the edges. So I'm using pumpkin pie ink and a sponge dauber. Hi Debbie Colby, how are you doing? And I'm just going to sponge around the edges. And look at that cool glow that gives. And anybody see the harvest moon this week? We had a harvest moon a couple days ago. And it was so cool. It was orange. It looked very much like this. Okay, so there is our full harvest moon. And then we're going to go ahead and add our little scaredy owl. So we're going to just pop him up with a dimensional. And get rid of our backing, and we'll just pop him up right over top of the stamped image, and you see how he just looks like he's popping out from that tree. I love it. And then the dies are so awesome in this, it even cuts this little bitty itty teeny tiny spider, which I love. Now he is so teeny tiny you can't even use a mini dimensional. You have to use half a mini dimensional on him. He's so little. Now of course you don't have to pop him up, but why not, right? When in doubt, pop it up is my motto. It has served me well in life, and it's going to be that way for quite some time. So we're going to put this little guy right over top. Okay, so there is our little scene. Now, before we glue him down onto our card front, we're going to add a little bit of this awesome mesh ribbon. So this kind of reminds me of Spider's Web. All right, so we're going to take this edge. We're going to kind of create a jaggedy edge so it's not all even and nice. And kind of distress that a little bit. And I need probably about, I don't know, 3.5, 4 inches of this stuff. It does not have to be, you don't need a ton of this for it to have impact. So I'm just going to tear that a little bit too. And we're going to go ahead and glue that on. Now, because this is going to cover that, we can just put a little bit of tape down and stick that on. Okay, I don't have to worry about trying to hide the adhesive because it's going to get hidden anyway. All right. So we're going to close that for a minute. And then when we go to glue our little owl on, we want to make sure we are centering that in our die cut window. So I'm going to add again a couple of dimensionals. And we'll get rid of our backings. And then center that in the window like that. So fun and so cute. All right, now also on the front of this card, we have our little, we're going to do a little teeny tiny label that says Boo. And again, that is die cut using the stitch nested labels. This is the smallest label from that set. And so we're going to ink up our little Boo and stamp that on our label. And then I have these awesome sparkly glittery bats. Now these are cut using the Halloween magic dies. I'll be featuring those actually next week, but I couldn't resist. These kind of create your own DIY Halloween embellishments, right? So just a sparkly little bat to add to our label. Okay, and then that again is going to get glued to the front of our card, but once again, just like on the last time, we want to make sure we are putting the adhesive where it's not going to stick our card shut. Okay, so I'm just putting one mini dimensional on the end of my label, and we're going to just pop that on like that. So when it opens up, the label goes with it. Okay. All right, now also on here we have this cute little guy with the jack-o'-lantern. Now I've already cut and colored him, but we do need to stamp our sentiment. Now I want to show you how to mask a sentiment. Okay, so this stamp says have a hoot on Halloween. I wanted to split that up and say have a hoot and then on Halloween on the inside. Now there are two ways I can do that. You have all seen me cut up my stamps before. I could easily cut that and create 2 different stamps, okay? But I thought for those of you who are not comfortable cutting your stamps, I thought I would show you how you can do it with masking. So I have a Post-it note, and I am going to, on my actual stamp, I'm going to cover up the part that I don't want, okay? So I only want have a hoot. So I'm sticking my Post-it note over on Halloween, okay? Then I'm going to take my ink pad and ink up my stamp and peel off my Post-it. And then I can stamp have a hoot on my little Whisper White strip here. Okay, just like that. Now this is just a 1/2 inch wide strip, just a bit of scrap. And then we are going to punch a banner label, or sorry, banner end with our, oh, what's the name of this punch? You know what I mean? The one that I always use to make a banner. Holy cow, my brain. I tell you, some days I wonder, sometimes I think I'm a danger to the public. My memory lately. Too much on the brain, I think. All right, so we're going to go ahead and glue our little scaredy owl jack-o'-lantern guy on the end of our have a hoot. So we're just going to kind of glue him on there, and then that is going to get glued flat, not popped, on the front of our card. So we'll just add a little bit of tape there, and we're going to pop him on just like that. Okay? Alrighty, we're almost there. Now, on the inside of our card, on the last one, I didn't have to add another layer because this layer was white. However, you'll see here, because this one is pumpkin pie, I need to add a white layer to be able to stamp and color. So I've got a 4 by 5 1/4 inch layer. Okay. And I'm going to bring back that same stamp that we just used. I'm going to clean it to get rid of the ink. And then we are going to mask the other half of the stamp. I need to make sure this is dry, because if I try to put a Post-it note on it when it's wet, it will not stick. All right, so let's grab another Post-it. This time I'm going to cover up have a hoot with my Post-it note. And I'm going to ink up my on Halloween. Get rid of my Post-it. And then we're going to go ahead and stamp that on our white panel. Okay? Really easy way to get only part of a stamped image. All right. Okay, next we are going to stamp. Now don't worry, I'm not going to color this. Okay. I actually die cut one out, so we're gonna layer it. Because again, I didn't want you to have to sit and watch me color for hours on end tonight. So we're gonna ink up our little vampire owl here. And again, making sure that that branch is extending off the edge of the page so it's not floating in midair. And then all we need to do again is color the actual branch he's sitting on. Oh, and I probably should color the moon, but I didn't bring a Mango Melody marker over here. So I will color the moon later. I'll tell you, I colored it using the dark Mango Melody, but I didn't bring it over, I forgot. So we're gonna just color the branch. Oh, somebody's outside my door meowing. They hear me talking in here and they think they should be in here too. These cats would love to be on camera with me. The only problem is all you would see probably is their butt in the camera, and that's not their best angle. So, all right, so then I have my little vampire owl that I've already colored and die cut. So we're going to pop him up with a couple of dimensionals. And he's going to go right over top of that stamped image. So we'll pop him on here like that. Okay, there he is. And again, the moon on this guy, I colored using the dark Mango Melody. Okay. All right, so this is ready to get glued onto, or into our card rather. So let's pop that on. Tailor tag. Thank you, Krista. I knew somebody would know. You guys are the best. You bail me out. You should come with me to school and help me when I forget stuff at school. I think my kids think I'm losing it, honestly. All right, there we go. Done and done. Cute little Peekaboo card for Halloween. Now, I will show you, I made a matching little treat holder. So these are our 3x3 acetate boxes. These are in the annual catalog. They hold 3 mini chocolate bars. You could probably get more in there. I just didn't jam it. And then I just made a belly band out of the same DSP, and I did my moon and everything the same way. I just added an extra circle of black glimmer paper on there just to kind of give it a little bit more pop. But isn't that a cute little ensemble for Halloween? So fun. All right, this last one, yet another fun fold. I told you it was on a fun fold roll tonight. This one is super fun. I actually showed this to my team last night and they really liked it. Now, this does not look like anything fancy. It just looks like a gatefold card, right? However, look, this gatefold card doesn't open. It has a lock. So I'm calling this a gift card vault. I don't know what else to call it. This locking mechanism idea is not my idea. I just wanted to give it a cool name. What can I say? So let me show you how this works. So all I'm going to do is take my little circle here. It's going to get slid up and off, and then I can open my gatefold, and there's my Tim Hortons gift card. How fun is that? To close it back up, I just put my little latch back on. All right, you. Are you going to cooperate with me right now? We shall see. So it's a slider that you need to get started. There we go. Okay, so you get your slider on and then you just slide it back in place. Come on, you. It's not going to slide for me right now. I don't know why it's not sliding. There it goes. And you have it locked again. Okay, super fun. I'm going to show you how. It is so easy. Like, honest, it is so easy. All right. So to start, we need a piece of this. I'm using thick Whisper white cardstock. This is for my Gatefold Base. Okay, it's 4 1/4 by 11 inches. And I have to do a little scoring, and I'm going to try not to make the same mistake I made in my team meeting last night and actually cut the cardstock instead of scoring it. It was a bit of a comedy of errors last night. So I'm putting my cardstock into my trimmer with the long side at the top, and I'm going to line it up at 2 3/4 inches. Okay, so 2 3/4. Using my scoring blade, I am going to score at 2 3/4. Okay, then I'm going to take and rotate it 180 degrees. And same thing, put it in at 2 3/4 and score. Okay, so now I have a score line here and a score line here. You with me? That's all the scoring. It's so easy. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and fold that to create our gatefold. So 1 and 2, and you're going to see I have a little bit of a gap. That's not on purpose. That's just the way it worked out when I scored it. That's okay. It's actually better if you have a bit of a gap. All right. Then we are going to layer that. So here I have 2 of the same size. These are 2.5 by 4. Double check. Yes, 2.5 by 4. And these ones are 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. And you're going to see how that layers really nicely on there. So we're going to go ahead and add a bit of glue to the back of those. Pop those on there just like that. So these are both exactly the same, and these are going to be to decorate each one of the sides of our gatefold. So we'll just center that, make sure that's well adhered, and then these are each going to go on, and you're going to see you have a nice narrow border all the way around. So we will add this on one side, just like that. Now, the only thing I'm going to caution you about is you want to make sure that whatever your pattern is, especially for gingham, you see how the lines don't match up? That really bugs me. So you want to make sure when you're gluing this on that your lines line up. If you have that if you're doing stripes or gingham or anything like that, the plaid, you just want to make sure that things line up. Did I say gingham? This is not gingham. This is plaid. I do know the difference, really. Apparently my brain doesn't know it today, but I do. Okay, so you see how my lines line up. All right, so that's the front. Now on the inside, I'm just going to show you real quick. Open this up again. We're going to create a pocket for our gift card. Okay, so this is just another scrap. It is 2 by 5.5 minus a smidge. Okay, so I purposely cut it a little bit shorter than 5.5. That's so that it would fit in here nicely. and I could still close my gatefold. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and add some tape to that. Now we're only going to tape both short sides right along the edge. I shouldn't do this on my card. And one long side. Okay, so I'm applying the tape right along the edges. And then that is going to get glued inside our card. Just like that. Okay, and now I have a pocket. Let's bring my gift card and I can slide that in. Okay, so that is our gift card pocket. Now let me show you how to make the locking mechanism. This is so cool. I wish I could take credit for this. I can't. There was a British demonstrator. I cannot for the life of me remember her name, but she was I saw this on her YouTube channel and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Okay, so to make this mechanism you need 4 of the same size and shape. Okay, so now for this one, I actually kind of cheated. You could do it with 4 of the same size, 4 of these, okay? But I decided that I wanted to have an extra layer. I wanted a decorative layer on the top, so I kind of broke the rules, but I'm going to show you. So you need 4 of the same. So 2 of them you are going to fold in half, exactly in half. Okay, so take your time to make sure you get this right. I used to cut these the largest circle from the layering circle dies. And once you get them folded, you really want to burnish that fold really well with your bone folder. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. So again, taking my time, making sure I get a really perfect fold there. And then again, burnishing really well. Okay, so then I'm going to take my other white circle and I'm going to lay these 2 on top of it, the 2 that I folded, with the spines, the folds, towards the middle. Okay, so the part that opens is on the outside on both sides. And I'm going to go ahead and glue those down. And again, I like to use the liquid glue just because it gives me that wiggle time to make sure I get them exactly positioned where I want them. So I'm gluing one down. Again, my fold is to the center. Okay, making sure that that is well adhered. And then same thing on this side. Again, making sure that those are butt right up against each other and that that is glued really well down. Okay, so now I kind of have this kind of effect. You see that? Now, this is where I could use the same size circle to glue on top. Okay, I totally could, but I kind of switched it up. So here I have the largest scallop circle. Okay, this is from the same set of dies. And we're going to glue this on top, but the way we're going to do it is we're going to put this down and glue this down this way so that we can get it centered on that scallop circle. So I'm going to put my adhesive all over. This is the side that has the 2 folded pieces. Okay, so I'm putting adhesive all over those. And then I'm going to just take and flip this over. And I'm going to place it on my scallop and just kind of wiggle that so that it is centered. And I'm seeing the scallop on all the way around. Okay. Then I can turn it over and now I'm ready to decorate with my DSP. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my DSP. This again is cut using the stitched shapes dies. This is the largest circle from the stitched shapes dies. It's actually the same size as the largest plain circle from the layering circle dies. I'm not sure if you knew that, but there's a little bit of trivia for you. So we're going to add that. It totally could be a keepsake ornament, Sue. Absolutely. Now, when you are gluing, again, if you have if you're using something with a pattern like this, you want to make sure that you're gluing this on so that when it goes onto your card, it's going to be straight. You don't want cockeyed plaid. Okay. Just want to make sure that that goes on straight. Okay. And then this is going to slide on to be our locking mechanism. So what we're doing is we're kind of separating it here. Okay. And this works best if you slide it on while the card is open to kind of get it started. Okay. And then you're going to just kind of wiggle it into place. Now, as you're doing this, you may find that your gatefold buckles a little bit. Oh, look at that. I didn't get it straight. I have cockeyed plaid. That's going to bug me. I'll have to fix that later. Okay. So you see how this buckles just a bit? So what you do is you press that down and you just take your bone folder and you burnish those folds on either side until it lies nice and flat. Okay? Crooked plaid is the worst. Can I still turn that? No, it's glued. Okay, so that's that. Now let's finish decorating it. So here I have the 2 sizes smaller than this one, circle. It's from the, again, same stitched shapes dies. And I'm going to take my little owl with the gift, and we are going to stamp him right there in the center of that circle. And then once again, I have already colored and die cut this little guy. So we're going to pop him up on that circle, just like this. Center him on there. There he is. I forgot to color my branch, so I should probably do that. So I'm going to color my branch this time with the dark smoky slate instead of the light black. And I don't have to be quite as careful with this one because I'm coloring on Whisper White, which is much more friendly to color with. Or on, I guess. I'm not coloring with it. I'm coloring on it. There we go. There's a little branch. Okay. And then that little guy is going to get centered. I'm not actually going to glue him down because I want to cut another piece of DSP to cover up the fact that this is crooked because it's really going to bug me. So that little guy is going to go on centered on there. Okay. Then we are going to add our sentiment. So our sentiment, did I give myself a scrap? Oh, yes, I did. Here it is. So I'm going to take my Merry Christmas stamp and I'm going to add a sentiment. Again, this is just a 1/2 inch wide scrap. And we are going to punch both ends this time with the same punch. Oops, wrong punch. Grab the wrong one. This is the right punch. And we're going to punch one end. And then this end, I'm going to give myself a little bit more room because I want to add my little branches and my bow. So I'm going to give myself a little bit more space. Just like that. And then I have a couple more die cut branches. So we are going to add them. Where'd my glue dots go? They're buried. Here we go. So we're going to just press one of the branches into a glue dot. And we're going to add one down here. And another one up here. And then I have some of this adorable Playful Pets ribbon. So this is from the annual catalog. It's 1/8 inch wide and it's got this cute stitching. And I thought it worked well with the stitched accents on this card design. So to make our bow, we are going to pinch 2 loops between our thumb and index finger. Now this ribbon is a little bit trickier to work with because it's easy to twist. So you want to make sure that it doesn't get twisted, right? So your bow lays nice and flat. We're going to cross our left loop over the right. Bring it around and through, and there is our cute little bow. Play with our loops, get them just the size we want, and then trim our tails. There we go. And then again, I'm going to press that into a glue dot. Now this, because it's a very thin ribbon, I'm going to roll my glue dot a little bit because I don't want to see any of that glue dot in behind. And then we're just going to press that on where our branches are. Okay, and then that is going to get glued on the front just like this. Again, I'm not going to glue that down because I want to fix my crooked DSP before I glue it. Okay, but that's what you're going for. All right, now on the inside, let me just open this back up again. On the inside, we are going to add our little owl family. And we are going to stamp from Owl of Us again. Now this time, this is the smallest oval from the Stitched Shapes dies. And we're going to stamp again in the black ink. You can do so much with black ink. Honestly, if I was a beginner stamper, all I would have is black because there's so much you can do with it. All right, so there is our From Owl of Us. And then again, I have my little owl family. So they are going to get glued on. So we're going to pop them up again, just like we did on the first card. So we'll add a couple of dimensionals. Come here, you guys. My dimensionals are rebelling. They're overworked. They're going to form a union and tell me that I'm not paying them enough. All right, and then we're going to add some dimensionals to the back of our sentiment and pop that on. And then we got a couple more branches again. So just like we did on the first card. Oh, this one stuck to my finger. We're going to add a couple of little branches for our little birdies to perch on. So we'll add this one here. And come here, you. A couple more little dabs of Tombow here. These would be really, really ideal to use with the adhesive sheets. Just saying. Okay, so there is our little branch. Isn't that cute? Let me bring the one that actually is together, because again, I don't want to glue that one without fixing that crooked plaid. All right, you guys, let me bring these in. So there is number 1, or sorry, number 3, I guess. There is card number 2, and there is card number 1. Okay, lots of fun folds today. I hope you enjoyed those. This is really, really a cute stamp set. So much fun to color, and really, really adorable. I mean, honestly, who doesn't want to get an owl card? All right, everybody. I'm done for today. I think my dinner is here. I heard the doorbell go a while ago, so I'm going to go and eat dinner. And I hope you have a great week, and I will see you again next week for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.